All right, so we'll come to our comfortable seat. And as you find your comfortable seat, this is your opportunity to really make it comfortable, because we end up being here for a little longer than usual for a little bit of that check-in, making sure my noise-making device is on silent. So as you find hips lifted on something, or maybe even sitting on your knees instead, if that's more comfortable, then start to move around with your pelvis a little bit, a little forward and back tilt. And as you move a little forward and back with your pelvis, just notice for yourself any of that sticky area, stuck stuff that might be present, which often happens if you've been sitting a lot, or if you just have any low back pain or hip stiffness. So then let your pelvis tilt a little bit forward, let your hands rest down, and as you let your eyes close, take a couple big breaths. And as you let your breath start to deepen and expand and move into more places in your body, notice the flow of breath. And even imagine that it is a wave rushing through you like the ocean. And you can even allow a little bit of movement here through your pelvis as your breath moves. Allowing those little subtle pulsations that happen with the breath. And then bring your awareness down to your pelvis. Think of that area just below the navel, your sacral area. And if you'd like to bring the color orange into it, you can, either imagining an orange orb or just the color there in your pelvis. The affirmation for this chakra is, I flow with the rhythms of life, open to the goodness around me. I flow with the rhythms of life, open to the goodness around me. And now bring hands to connect at heart center. And as you let that wave of breath move through you, find a little more length, a little more expansion and opening. And then exhale, bow towards your heart. And then softly allow your eyes to open, release your hands down, and walk your hands out to your knees and start to move a little forward and back with your breath, this action of cat and cow. Inhaling belly and heart forward. Exhale, press back through your spine. And as you take this movement, think of that movement beginning at your tailbone and moving up your spine as you inhale, and same thing as you exhale, beginning at your tail and moving up your spine. Inhale, belly and heart forward. Exhale, spine pushes back. 3 more big breaths this way, and if you find that tilting a little bit further forward and a little bit further back is in your practice, you're welcome to, or you can keep the movement small. And then inhale, sit tall. We're taking left fingertips to the floor beside our hip. Reach your right arm up and over your ear. And as you exhale, work your way a little further into this side stretch. And then we'll begin to move with our breath. As you inhale, come all the way back up. Exhale, take it over to the right side. Inhale, rise back up. And exhale to the left. Inhaling and exhaling. And as you take this movement, Take the time to notice any places in your body that are feeling tense or difficult. And make the movement appropriate for what's going on in your body. So maybe make it a little bit smaller, or maybe make it a little bit bigger. One more time on each side. And then as you inhale all the way back up to center, go ahead and switch the cross of your legs, coming to the less comfortable cross for yourself. Or if you're sitting on your knees, then you can stay there, but shift and move your sitting bones, move them back and broad. And now take your hands to your hips and press down. And as you lift up and open through your heart space, start to walk your hands a little further back so that you're opening up more through your chest. Think of squeezing your elbows a little bit toward each other. Take a big inhale and lift up higher through your front ribs and your collarbones. And now as you inhale this time, rise back up, hands come in front to clasp. Pull forward with your arms and round back through your spine. Your chin tucks in towards your chest. And then add that side to side sway here, getting a little further down into your lats, maybe into your low back. And again, think of that movement being the amount of movement that is right for your body. Then inhale, sit tall, and turn your torso towards your right knee. Walk your fingertips in front of your right knee. You can always have them up on a block here if you would like. Then we'll take those cat-cow movements in this diagonal. So inhale, belly moves toward the ground or towards your leg. Exhale, round back through your spine. Full deep inhale, long full exhale. 2 more here. Then inhale, extend your heart forward and rise all the way back up. Now we're turning our torso toward our left leg and walk your fingertips forward to whatever height you need, or they can come down onto the ground. But then begin that movement again. Inhale, belly towards your leg, and exhale, round back through your spine. Full, long, deep inhale, long, full exhale. 2 more. And then inhale, extend your heart forward and rise all the way back up to a tall spine. And now we'll take a fold forward straight ahead, as deep as your body needs. Again, it's always an option to put elbows down on something or to come all the way down onto the ground with your elbows. Find a couple big breaths. You might add a little movement here through the hips or through the sides. And then let yourself come to some stillness for about 3 more full deep breaths. And then inhale, bring yourself all the way back upright. And now we're going to come all the way down to our sitting bones and bring our legs out in front of us. And as you bring your legs out in front of us, in front of you, feet are a little ways away from you, your knees are bent. And then we're going to take those cat-cows here. So move your sitting bones back and broad, hold on to your knees, and they can be above or below for your hands. Take an inhale and lift up tall, and exhale, round back through your spine. Full inhale, long, deep exhale. As you allow your pelvis to tilt a little forward and back. Again, go to that depth that feels the best on your body, not necessarily needing to go to the deepest place you've ever gone. But think about a little bit of gentleness here. And then inhale, rise up tall, and we're going to come to a cradle rocking position. So bring your left leg to a base position for yourself, a little bend to your knee. And you can bring something underneath your seat if that feels best to you. But now pick up your right leg and you're holding your foot and your knee, or you're just holding your foot with your left hand and using your right hand behind you to help you sit tall. Your choice here. But give your foot a flex, lengthen through your spine, and then do a little bit of rocking side to side. As you rock side to side, you can notice for yourself how much your pelvis has to move for you to do this. Or maybe it's staying pretty stationary. Notice if there are any spots where it's tricky to move through. And remember to keep it gentle for yourself. Good, and now switching legs, coming to a base with your right leg, pick your left leg up. And again, find that long spine. Flex your foot here. This keeps ankle and knee stable. And then move a little side to side. Find that rock. And even notice here, if the amount that you have movement through the pelvis is any different than it was on the other side, because we're not symmetrical. Not really anywhere in the body. Might be close, but typically not. And then go ahead and switch sides again. So left leg becomes your base, pick your right leg up. And so this time, instead of rocking, we're hugging it in toward our body as close as is comfortable. So maybe you'll get a little more stretch through the glutes, sometimes into the outside edge of the leg, the IT band. But take a full big breath and sit even taller. And now we're going to turn our leg so your right foot is aimed forward, your knee is bent toward the wall behind you. So this is our half happy baby pose sitting up. So you can hold on to your foot, you can hold on to your shin, you can hold on to your thigh here. So lots of different places for you to go. Fingertips beside you on the left side to help you sit up even taller. Tilt your belly more forward and then begin to do a little resistance. Pull back with your hand and push into your hand with your foot. Take a full, big, deep breath. And now we'll do a little pulsing with some hamstring stretching. So as you exhale, extend your leg as long and as straight as is comfortable. Inhale, bend your knee. Exhale, work towards straight. And inhale, bend your knee. And keep going with your own breath for about 3 more rounds. And then as you pause here again in the half happy baby place, give a little more push back and a little more resistance. And now inhale, extend into that hamstring stretch. As you exhale this time, you're going to bend your knee and cross it over to tap your heel onto the floor beside you on the left. Pause, lengthen through your spine, and even think of trying to tilt your belly a little more forward. Then inhale, come back to that hamstring stretch. And exhale, bend and cross. Inhale, hamstring stretch. And exhale, bend and cross. One more time. Inhale, hamstring stretch. Exhale, bend and cross. And then inhale, come back into center to that half happy baby pose place for just one more moment. And then switch sides. Right leg becomes your base. Pick your left leg up. And this time, remember, we're going to hug it in close. Flex your foot nice and strong. Hug it in close. You can always use your hand behind you to help you sit taller. Take a big, deep breath. And then we're turning the legs so your foot is forward, knee is back. half happy baby pose. Right hand is your helper. Press down into the ground and lift up taller. Think of that tilt of your pelvis, belly forward. Pull back with your hand and push into your hand with your foot or leg, whatever you happen to be holding on to. Take a big deep breath. And now the hamstring stretch. Extend your leg on the exhale. Inhale, bend your knee. Exhale, hamstring stretch. Inhale, bend. Full exhale, long, deep inhale. Three more. Then pause in that half happy baby pose place. Give that little resistance. Lift up tall through your spine. And now this time, inhale, hamstring stretch. Exhale, bend your knee and cross over. Pause here, tilt your belly a little bit so your belly's coming forward, lengthening your spine. And then inhale, hamstring stretch. Exhale, cross over. Inhale, hamstring stretch. And exhale, cross over. You have three more. And then as you come back to that hamstring stretch, bend your knee, push back for just a moment in that half happy baby pose place, and then release your legs. Footprints to the floor in front of you. You're taking your feet wider than your mat. Hands come behind you. Flex your feet so you're on your heels as your pivot point. And then rock knees side to side. It's windshield wipering that we often do from our backs. Can target some different places if we do it from more of a sitting position. As you take that movement side to side, just remember that you're going to the place that feels good to you, not necessarily trying to touch your knees to the ground on each side. Okay, and then come back into center here. We're going to bring soles of feet together. First into the butterfly, but go ahead and grab your blanket. And you're going to come to the quarter fold of your blanket or whatever fold you need for a relatively long roll. And then roll it up. And then you have your blanket over your feet and wrapping them underneath your legs so that you have a little ankle support here. And we'll do just a little bit of movement. So if you want to, you can always bring props out in front of you. But move your sitting bones, move them back and broad, and use the information of how much you can sit up to help you determine how far away to bring your feet. So if your low back is rounding back, if your sacrum is rounding back, move your feet a little bit further forward. So as you use your fingertips behind you to help you sit up, tilt your belly a little forward, lift up through your heart. You're going to exhale and fold as much as it feels good in your body. Inhale and rise back up, and exhale, fold as deeply as you need. We have a few more here, so you're welcome, like I said, to have props underneath your hands in front of you to do this movement, or you can always do it from your hands behind. As you take a couple more breaths here, just notice, again, any of those spots through the body that might feel a little bit sticky or tricky to move. And then inhale, rise all the way back up. And this time we're moving our feet forward so you have more of a diamond shape for your legs. Grab your pillow or bolster and you're setting it in between your legs and then over your feet. And from that place, we're going to come to resting our head on our prop. So you might end up finding that you want to add more propping on top. So move your sitting bones back and broad. Press down with fingertips, lift up tall through your spine, and as you exhale, fold towards your prop to find that place where you can set your head down, your forehead resting, giving your nervous system a little bit of permission to release and let go. So that can be stacked fists, it can be a block underneath, or it can be all the way down to your pillow or bolster. Ultimately, find that place where your body can start to settle a little bit, where any of those spots of tension, maybe through the hips or maybe through the low back, can release a little bit more. One of the practices of yoga is to utilize your breath to help soothe or calm. So see if you can find a little bit of soothing or calming or softening around the edges of any tension. Remember that you're never stuck in any one place. So if you find that it stops being comfortable, starts being agitating, then shift a little bit to something that's more comfortable. We have about 30 more seconds here. And then inhale, bring yourself back upright. You can set your bolster aside, and you can set your blanket aside. And then we'll come to one of my all-time favorites these days for releasing through the hips and releasing through the low back. So we'll take our box sit. So right thigh comes right parallel up against the edge of your mat. Right shin parallel to the front of your mat, with a little tone to your foot. Left thigh straight out to the left, toward the left side of your mat, and think of shin parallel to the left side of your mat. Press fingertips down into the ground and lift up tall, or just notice for yourself here if there's any sensation. Before I take this stretch, I always have some sensation through my hip, so just notice if there's anything there for you. As you exhale, you're folding straight over your right thigh as far as your body needs. You might come down to elbows on a prop. You might come down to resting completely against your thigh, maybe setting your head on your hands or the floor. Find where it feels the best here for that stretch, but also where you can let your nervous system calm around the sensations. Let your breath help you soothe. You have about 5 more breaths right here. And then gently use your hands to help you sit upright. We're keeping our legs in this shape. And taking your right hand back behind your right hip into a diagonal. And so you have a little bit of movement back with your heart that can happen here. So lift your chest up. Think of it as a little bit of a back bend. And then your left hand helps you rotate your left hip a little bit forward. So sometimes this gets a little bit more into that pocket muscle on the left leg, or even sometimes into more of the inner thigh muscles. Take a couple big breaths. And just notice what the sensation is for you. And then gently rise back up. And for just a moment, sitting upright, notice if there's any shift in sensation for sitting. And then bring the left leg out in front and you'll switch sides, coming to the left side of your mat. Thigh parallel to the left side, shin parallel to the front. And then right leg straight out to the right, shin parallel to the right side of your mat. Press down with fingertips. And as you start to lift up tall through your spine, notice here, maybe the sensations are about the same, maybe they're different. And then begin to fold over your front leg, propping arms up if that helps this be a little bit less intense, or coming all the way down to elbows or hands. And again, notice for yourself if there's any difference on this side. That little bit of tone for your feet might change the sensations a little, but it also gives your ankles and knees some stability. Use your breath to help you soften around the edges of the sensations. Three more breaths on this side. And then gently press yourself back upright. And then your left hand is coming back behind you at that diagonal. And you're opening up through the heart here, finding a little bit more of a back bend. Right hand helps your hip rotate forward. And take a couple big breaths. Notice what this gets into. And then gently upright. And as you come upright, again, notice any changes in sensation for you. And then bring your legs around. And let's take soles of feet together into our butterfly one more time, this time with no props. Just holding on to feet, shins, or the floor behind you to reach out through your thighs. And as you reach out through your thighs and inner thighs, let that reach help you maybe move your legs a little closer to the ground, but do it without pushing your knees down. Instead, use the inner thigh muscles and the quads. And then gently release, footprints to the floor, and walk your feet in as close as is comfortable to wrap your arms around. And as you hug onto your legs, tuck your chin in and let your upper back round. Take a big breath into that space between the shoulder blades. And now we're going to release our legs and we're going to come to laying down, and you get to pick whether you want to use a pillow or bolster or your rolled up blanket to lay over. And we'll lay over the blanket the length of our spine, or the pillow or bolster the length of our spine. You can sit on the floor right in front of your blanket, or you can sit right on top of it, depending on how your low back feels. And then rest all the way out. Arms open up to your T or cactus, whichever feels the best, to let a little expansion happen through the front of the chest. And from this place, you can either drop your knees in together to touch, bring soles of feet together into a butterfly with props underneath your legs, or you can lengthen your legs all the way out. Find that comfortable position for yourself for your legs. And take some full breaths here. Letting gravity do a little work for you. And now wrap your arms around yourself. Give yourself a hug, reaching your fingers around your shoulders. And take a big breath into that space between the shoulder blades. And then switch the cross with your arms, coming to the hug on the other side. And take another big breath into that space. And then open your arms up again to either that T or the cactus. And now you can come back to that hug if you would like to, or we're going to take our eagle arms. So wrapping left arm over the right to take a hold of the bottom of your palm here, if that feels good, or you can always come back to back with your hands instead. But then consciously try to broaden through the tops of your shoulders, and then take another big breath into that space between the shoulder blades. And then switch the cross, right elbow over the left. Again, you can either take the bottom of your palm, or you can come back to back, or come back to hugs. Broaden tops of shoulders and take that big breath. And then release your arms one more time, coming back to that T or the cactus. About 3 more big breaths right here. And now you're bending your knees and rolling over to one side, just enough to move your prop out of the way. And now find your pillow or bolster. And you can always use your blanket for this instead if you need, but set it underneath your legs. And then draw soles of feet together to open your knees up wide so that they're opening up over your pillow or bolster or blanket. And then if you would like to, you can take your rolled up blanket. If you're not using it already, you can take it underneath your neck for a little bit of support for the C-spine here. And as you open up with your arms to a T, or you can bring them by your sides, or even take them to your hips or belly, take a few big breaths as you allow a little heaviness, a little settling to happen through your hips in this supported version of your butterfly. Again, utilize your breath to help you notice any of those places that are holding on to tension. And let your breath help you soothe and calm around the edges. Remember, you're never stuck in one place. You're always welcome to shift and move to make your pose a little bit more comfortable. About 5 more breaths right here. And now lift your knees. And you can take the blanket out from underneath your neck if you want to, or you can leave it there, either one. But we're just going to do one more deep hip stretch before we come to our resting pose. So cross left ankle over the right knee. We have that figure 4 pose here. Give both feet a flex, and then you can start to lift your legs. And if your prop is just in the right spot for you to rest your foot, you can always take your right foot back down to your bolster or pillow or whatever you have underneath your legs, or you can lift your legs more toward you. As you find that version of figure 4 that feels the best in your body, then rock a little side to side. And now take that rock a little bit over to the right side so your left hip is a little lifted. And then stretch the left hip, the left sitting bone out to the left and forward. toward the foot of your mat. Getting a little bit more into that really deep hip flexor that tends to get tight and not get stretched very often, called the piriformis. Re-reach the left hip, reach it out to the left and forward. And then come back into center with your legs and just hug them in as close as your body is ready for. You can even add the hamstring stretch here of lengthening through the right leg, flexing your foot. But then ultimately try that tilt of your pelvis so that your sitting bones are moving down. And then bend your right knee, set your foot on the ground, and then set your left foot down and switch sides. Right ankle over the left knee. And then as you lift your legs up, if you'd like to just set your foot on top of your prop, you're welcome to here. Or lift your legs more toward your body. Feet flexed, give a little rock side to side to find that length through the low back. And then let the rock happen a little bit to the left side so your right hip is lifted. And then reach the right sitting bone out to the right and forward. Couple big breaths with this stretch. And then re-stretch it, re-reach it out to the right and toward the foot of your mat. And then come back into center. And if you want to take that hamstring stretch, you're welcome to lengthen your left leg up toward the ceiling. But ultimately think of drawing your legs a little bit closer to your body, even as you tilt your sitting bones a little further down. Flex both feet, finding that stability for ankles and knees. And then bend your left knee, set your foot on the ground, and set your right foot on the ground. And from this place, if it's comfortable to just rest your legs over your prop, you're welcome to. If it's comfortable to have a blanket either under your neck or over your hips and belly, then you're welcome to. But come to a variation of Shavasana that feels really good in your body. That enables you to settle. Once you find that place, take the first 2 or 3 breaths to shift and move and make it a little bit more comfortable. And then give yourself permission to come to stillness. Bring awareness back to your breath. Bring some movement into your fingers and to your toes. As you're ready to, bend your knees and roll over to your side. Let your hips stay heavy. Use your hands for support to rise back up to your seat. And as you come up to a seat, prop yourself up. Try to make a sustainable seat for yourself for a few minutes as we shift into a meditation. And then find a long spine. If you'd like to take the hand motion or the mudra, you can. So clasp your hands, and then you're going to extend your first fingers to touch, and then your thumbs to touch. So you're kind of making a teardrop shape. And this comes right in front of your navel. As you let your eyes close, bring your awareness back to your breath as it moves in and out of your body. And start to imagine it like a wave. As that wave of breath moves in and out. Start to let your breath get a little longer and a little slower. As you let your wave of breath move, bring your awareness to that area just below your navel. Maybe bringing in that color orange if that feels good. And as you let that wave of breath move through you, start to let that color orange move through you with that wave. As you let the color orange move through you and completely fill all the spaces in your body. Bring to mind the affirmation of I flow with the rhythms of life, open to the goodness around me. I flow with the rhythms of life, open to the goodness around me. You can keep this hand position if you like, or simply set your hands on your legs to rest. And begin to bring to mind a challenge, something in your life that either you're about to work through or maybe a challenge from the past. And try to imagine what your body feels like when you have to deal with a challenge. So you end up with a tension somewhere, a body sensation, maybe in your heart space or maybe through your torso somewhere. Notice what that sensation is like. And then come back to that orange wave of breath. That flowing breath of orange that moves through this challenge in the body. And as you let that sensation of challenge dissipate, notice it softening as that orange wave of breath moves through you. I flow with the rhythms of life, open to the goodness around me. Stack one hand over the other on your heart. And take another full wave-like breath with this color orange moving through you. And connect hands together at heart center. Draw them to your third eye and back to heart center. And bow toward your heart. Have a very peaceful and beautiful rest of your day and have a wonderful weekend. Namaste. Thanks, you guys.